Greetings and welcome back to our CK3 Legacy of Valyria series. So, no episode last week because of updates and everything made it unstable and just kept crashing. Now it is stable and we can continue. Unfortunately, as you can see, the Valyrian doesn't have its unique building the same as Valyria. I noted that last time, and that's because it's the changes between, versions, right? So I tried to start like a new game and it had all the stuff. So I don't know what I'm going to do, I'll be honest. We did just take Valyria, so I'm thinking I'll have to just try to recreate or restart on my own until we get to kind of where we are now. And then we'll just continue off after this episode. Obviously everything won't be the same. We probably won't have the same wife, children. We'll keep our character here, and I'll add the traits early on, and then we'll see, I guess. I'm not, like I said, because of the version changes, we don't have the unique buildings, which was a big part of our goals here, right? So obviously Valyria doesn't have any unique buildings, even though it does right here. It doesn't show it. Oreos, which had a unique building, doesn't have one as well. So yeah. And then obviously here, Elos apparently has one. What is that one? An old ruined resort. Actually, did Valyria have one? Maybe I'm just misremembering and confusing it with Elos. 15% the illustrious resort of Velikar. Alright, I was just checking here. Yeah, the Dragon Palace of Valyria, it did have a unique building. Alright. Obviously here we have a different character. But yeah, if we started a new game, it has Abandoned Great Castle, which is what would be good for us. Doesn't give us, I mean, obviously it's a castle, so it doesn't give any taxes, but money is going to be the most important thing. Like I've always been going on about, is it the Tower of Valyria? Which one gives a lot of? Valyria gave a lot. All right, well, not a lot, but you know what I mean. Elos apparently doesn't have one in here, which is interesting. Oh, because it changed. Yeah, obviously. Settled air. Then you, oh, that's just because of the thing here. Old ruined resort. So yeah, it would be in Velikar, because that's what it said before. So it wasn't like Elos. But all right. So obviously things are not syncing up from versions, so like I said, I'll have to just create a new save and just kind of recreate everything. That's gonna be fun, but luckily, since I won't be recording for it, I will just mosey on and speed run, so we should be fine for that. Unfortunately, I still don't know the issue, which are with conflict or whatever we have. Oh, I did fix this. I did look into it. We have to put all the mystery stuff at the mod way down below in our mod load order. So we do have all that settled at the very least. But if we go to the barbershop and say if I wanted to pose, obviously it doesn't show any of the items. So any of the modded items, it doesn't show, and I don't know why. I don't really have anything that should conflict, and I don't have that many mods. I don't even, I think I only have maybe 20, and I've seen people with their mod load orders with 50 plus mods. I don't even think I have 20. So I don't know why none of this is appearing correct. If anyone does know what might be the issue, please inform me, and I will try to get that working as well. The Dragon Queen. It's in the wilderness, so obviously Paul's Manse. Wow. They get a mansion in there, huh? But yeah, okay. So now that we got that fixed, at the very least, or settled, that's what I'm gonna have to do. So can just load here. No, because normally loading between the versions is typically good as long as it doesn't crash, but now we got issues, right? Like for some reason the old ruined resort, which yeah, Velakar, which is all the way over here somewhere, Lenius, Visaria. But yeah, but at the very least we have Valyria now, so I know what we can do with it. Is there anything else? Surprisingly, no, we lost all of our stuff. All right, that's good to know. Well, at the very least, then we'll just have this episode just kind of take a look at the mystery stuff, because we still have Magic Apprentice of being an acolyte. We got our Blood Mage stuff. We got the Touched. So I'm gonna have to find the IDs so we can add like the Touched and acolyte. Because we can add Blood Mage when I recreate our character, and then I'll get the Seraphine as well and just do all that. And yeah. But yeah, let's just take a look here. So here we have enact a mystery. So we can mystery of the murderous dreams, choice of wound or kill, change character resources. What if we did us? We can do us. All right. So we have 42 alchemy. I'm assuming select scroll caster. I don't know what the 10 versus 1 is, but maybe 1 is how much it's gonna take. We'll see. 42. Mystery of transmutation, and Calgon stands ready to enact a mystery. The manipulation of substances is an ancient arcane art through the pyromancers and some wandering chemists. Alright. Transmute some gold. So we have 44. Did that give us gold? I didn't even see. 662. 887. Okay, so yeah, we'll be able to have some real good cash once we have our alchemy all settled. So that's good to know. Honestly, I'd never even bothered to look at these islands here. I mean, obviously Elos has been I guess colonized. No, it still says ruins. I don't know. Like I said, it's probably just a bunch of bad code and what's not. That's still technically wilderness, yeah. Could build a lighthouse, but no. Alright. So with that, what else can we take a look around and see if there's anything changed? Yep, there's nothing there, which pretty sure is this Southeros? Is this part of Uthos? Or is Uthos down more next to Ashai? So we'll just take this episode to just talk about Game of Thrones and you know, Song of Ice and Fire stuff. So I've always enjoyed obviously the world of Game of Thrones. It is actually one of my favorite worlds. I love going through the lore. Wiki of Ice and Fire is fantastic to just deep dive and go down rabbit holes, going through like the Age of Heroes and all the founders of the houses and everything. I'm always been curious, you know, we get some information about Southros, right? Like we had one of the Dragon Lords. What was her name? Something Authoress? Belger Authoress, I want to say. I could be wrong on that one. Who spent like a year flying around Southros trying to map it. Didn't really get far into it. But noticed some interesting creatures like, you know, wyverns and basilisks and whatnot. And then we have Ulthos, which we know nothing about, as far as I know. Alright, so I just did a quick look. Yeah, Ulthos should be around here. So this is where like Ulthos should be here, past a Shy. I'm taking a look. Yeah. Since the Shy's right here, Ulthos would be here, since Southros. We don't know anything about Ulthos, except it's got pitch black jungles and at least one river. And we do know a little bit of Southros. What else do we want to talk about here? Who is your favorite, you know, Age of Heroes or character from Ancient Tales in Westeros, you know? Is it Garth the Gardener, Garth Greenhand, Brandon of the Bloody Blade, which has been theorized to be Brandon the Builder's father? I like that. I like that theory. Any of the characters you'd want to see, you know, obviously be more explored that we're not going to get because they're ancient, past, dead, and anything. But I want to know more about like the first king, you know? That would be interesting for me to read about, I'd say. Benedict Justman, I've always enjoyed for the Trident. Bastard of the Bracken and Blackwoods unites and becomes king of the Trident and Riverlands. Honestly, I actually like the Vale. I do. But besides any of like modern kind of like houses that I've said before, like in previous questions, like what's your favorite house in each kingdom? If you guys want to reiterate that, go right ahead. I've never really cared about any of the ancient heroes of the Vale, I guess. Is no Serwyn of the Mirror Shield from the Vale? I don't think Serwyn of the Mirror Shield's from the Vale. I'm pretty sure he's from the Reach. Could be wrong. But any of the Lannister kings are always interesting, and I always find it hilarious that the Lannister male line died ages ago and had to be continued through matrilineally. But you know Tywin won't. Bet you Tywin won't talk about that. I mean, the same thing happened with the Starks as well, with Brandon the Daughterless. That was it, right? Independent, yeah. Walton the Moon King, Brandon the Bad, Darian the Bridegroom, Sweet the Bitter, Ice Eyes, which is a cool nickname, I'm not gonna lie. Brandon Stark, Snowbeard, Commander Osric, Brandon Starks. Obviously, we're gonna get a lot of Brandon Starks. Carlin Stark, Brandon Burner, who obviously burned down the entire shipyard of the North after his father, Brandon the Shipwright, disappeared sailing west. Arlen Stark. There we go. Bale the Bard, Lyanna Stark, and Brandon the Daughterless. So that's always been interesting. I think Brandon the Bloody Blade and the Reach has been my one of my favorites. Just because, I don't know why. He sounds like a terrible dude. Just slaughtering children of the forest and giants that turn Red Lake red. And that's why the name's got Red Lake now, before it was something else. And there also was another theory where it was one of Garth Greenland's daughters, Floris the Fox, I want to say, had a bastard, and that bastard was Lan the Clever, who won the Westerlands from the Casterlys. I like that theory, so I always go with it. You know, we got the Martells and Dorne. Nymeria is always pretty good. You got the Ironwoods, the Danes. Not many Durandons that I remember besides during Gods of Grief. So, and the same with obviously a lot of Ironborn and everything that are supposedly interesting, but I'll be honest, I'm very biased against the Ironborn. But I do like the idea that they did come from west of Westeros, and they founded the Iron Islands. They found the Seastone Chair and everything, because they came from somewhere like west. I'm pretty sure that's even been slightly confirmed, or maybe that's just some kind of theory. Then you got Pentos. I don't know nothing about any of these, I'll be honest. Nothing's been interesting there. So what else? What other questions? I've asked favorite heroes from Age of Heroes, favorite house from each kingdom, any favorite fan theories? Like, more out there fan theories and everything. Like, I like the idea of Arya Targaryen, and when she flew on Valyrian, and it came back to old Valyria, and when she came back a year later with weird things growing inside her body being so high you can feel it through armor, and then when she got thrown into an ice bath, they just burst forth, and she died, and they were like pale, blind, with faces and limbs. I'm assuming it's got something to do with the blood magic of how they made dragons, because I'm pretty sure their dragons were made crossbreeding wyverns and fire salamanders, I want to say, is some people's theories. That are fire salamanders are around Valyria, and wyverns are from Southeros, or at least you can find wyverns in Southeros. So I know there's a lot of theories. I know, and we won't get any answers to them because that's the appeal. There's a mystery. You're never gonna get the answer to the mystery because then it's not interesting. Supposedly, I'm against that, but that's just me. Because I'm always interested, right? Where did Alyssa Farman go? She sailed west of Westeros, and then years later, Corlys Valerion said he saw her ship in the Shy. So did she just sail around and end up in the Shy? Did someone just find her ship and take it there after she disappeared? I like to think that there is a land west of Westeros, but but I know I keep saying but. I gotta think of a better word. All right, favorite house. What's your favorite land? If you have a favorite like castle in each kingdom as well, So that's something I should ask. So where is it? I've always said one of my favorite houses in the north is the Dustins. I don't know why. I just like the Dustins. They're descended from like the first king, supposedly, and I just think it's really interesting. A couple of them are pretty interesting characters. Roderick the Ruin, and let's just see, Dynasty Tree, Line of the Barrow Kings of Dustin, Lord of the First King Dustin. I want to know more about the first king, like I said before. And I know it's kind of a ruin and everything, but Moat Cailin has always been interesting. It's a natural like chokehold point. It's what kept the north from being conquered by the southerners. So that's always been pretty cool. Wow. Widow's Watch has got a lot of things here. Theon the Hungry Wolf, by the way, very interesting character. I rather like him. The Renewed Wolf's Warning, huh? And then there's a Sea Dragon Point. I mean, obviously when I was talking about I know I'm just jumping all over the place. The Ironborn. The Grey King has actually been a interesting character that I've been interested in, so there is that at the very least. The War King's Castle. Mormont here. Bear Island. Mormont Keep. Umbers are also an interesting house in the north. There's a lot of interesting houses in the north, obviously. They got the Manderleys, who were exiled from their home in the Reach because they ruled what? Somewhere on the Mander, I want to say. Probably Mander side around here. Unless there's a... hegemony titles. No, I don't want hegemony titles. Duchy titles. There we go. Darstone? Maybe Darstone. I think maybe might have been Woodwright. Willem. You know, maybe actually it's indicated in here. Let's see. House Manderley. The Dynasty Tree. High Lordship of the Rose Road. Oh, okay. So in this one, they were the Rose Road. Interesting. So they were over here. I mean, I guess the Mander is this, so it still makes sense. Dunstonbury, huh? Grand Seed. But then we move on. I guess we'll move on to the Ironborn. Like I said, the only interesting character well, no, that's untrue. The Grey King, always interesting. Slew Naga. I want to learn more about sea dragons as well. Like, come on. Speaking of that, also, when Balerion returned from supposedly Valyria with the area, he's got like a 9-foot long gash and other wounds. And he's the biggest dragon at the time, so what caused that? I'm interested. But I think, obviously, I pretty much said that my favorite house in Iron Islands is probably Harlaw. Never really liked much of the Ironborn. Probably because, I'll be honest, based off Vikings, these guys have always been kind of hypocrites to me. And that's just kind of soured my opinion on all of them. But there's been some interesting, like, ancient ones, like the Red Kraken. Was it the Red Kraken? It might have been the another one, but it's a Greyjoy, so whatever. Balon Blackskin kind of sounds pretty cool, dual wielding an axe and a hammer, and supposedly no weapon being able to harm him and shattering upon his skin. I know I saw a theory saying that maybe he had like Valyrian Steel armor or something, so that's pretty cool. Westerlands, obviously, you got Lannisters are the most well known. I don't know if I ever had like a favorite house in the Westerlands that I've particularly been drawn to. Maybe the Marbrands, I guess. Oh, and I guess I should say, where is it? The keep that I've been drawn to more. Favorite house, I think I said, was a Harlaw, but I don't know. I've kind of like a Orkmont here, you know, just straight in the middle. I've just kind of always liked it. Although I will say this one, which is the Horn, Hardstone Hills, huh? That's good, brother. Maybe just because I just like the shape. I don't know. Old Wick is also the Iron Islands aren't that interesting, right? You can't really grow anything. It's just hard and salt, all that. Bleh. But yeah, so House Marbrand, I guess, I've been kind of drawn to, but only because, I don't know, David Marbrand kind of stuck out to me as a character, and that's pretty much it. I've always liked the idea of any images I've seen of not the Crag, Pintrick Hills, of Castamere, like it being like an underground castle and everything has always been cool. Shame, you know, old Taiwan flooded it. What else? There's the Golden Tooth, the Golden Road. Like House Leopard has also been kind of interesting. Really interesting. I thought there'd be a unique building along there. Silver Hill, Deep Den, Warlord's Keep, the Mines of the Tooth. There we go. Must advance. But yeah, obviously quite a few different houses obviously in the Westerland, but like I said, nothing really is drawn to me. The Lannisters, I guess, are my favorite house, followed probably by the Marbrands, and I mean, Ashmark has been kind of interesting as well, but Castamere is probably my go-to on that one. And favorite house in Riverlands, Blackwoods. I know it's basic and everything, but I just really like the Blackwoods. And House Justman as well from the ancient Riverlands has been my favorite thing to learn about. They weren't kings of the Trident for very long, but Benedict Justman was an interesting character, I will say. All right, so there's the Great Dead Were Tree, ruins of Old Stone, Mudgrave, River Run, Inn of the Kneeling Man, Felled Grove, High Heart. I don't know why, but the name like High Heart always just kind of, I always was drawn to it. I'm not entirely sure why, but also I guess just Raventree Hill has also been my go-to. The Twins would be pretty cool if it wasn't for the phrase. I don't know. The Riverlands has been, it's a neat place. I will say this: River Run is cool because you can flood most of it and have a good defense. Harrenhal, I think, has been my favorite place in all of like Westeros, besides it being, you know, haunted and whatnot. The God's Fort. So Harrenhal and God's Fort, it's been my favorite all together. So then we got the Vale here. House Corbray has been my favorite house in House Vale, followed by House Royce. So that's a simple one to answer. I think a lot of the Corbrays have been interesting, even if we have the monster of Lyn Corbray, Sir Lyn Corbray, in the Game of Thrones books at the moment. But if we had to go for like a castle, I'm not entirely sure. I haven't really read much about besides the Bloody Gate and the Eyrie, so I don't know anything else about any of the others. So can't say anything about that one. Crownlands, I guess Dragonstone, and Targaryens. Darklands are good. You have the Bar Aemons, Valyrians, Macy's. All kind of interesting, I will say. The Darklands especially, I think they had like the family with like the most members of the Kingsguard, I want to say. Because it's been like, I think they have like at least 5 Kingsguard members just from like their family. I think probably even more. I could be mistaken though. And if I had to go for my favorite, you know, holding, probably Dragonstone. Driftmark, maybe. But yeah, who knows? A lot of who knows. This is, like I said, this is just me rambling for this episode here, so we can obviously just kind of skip this episode. I'll put that in like the title. Skippable. Of Stormlands. Tarth. This is my favorite holding in Game of Thrones Forest, the Stormlands, as we've noted in our Hedge Knight series, right, with Sir Paladin and then all of his family when we took Tarth and created our own and made Morn. I don't even know where it is. Galadin's Peak. Might not even be a ruin. Oh, there it is. Yeah, Morn. Sea of Morn rebuilt. And Sir Galadin. Sir Galadin Morn, interesting. Another interesting ancient character that's pretty cool. Simeon Star Eyes, Servant of the Mirror Shield, Galadin of Morn. Gotta love the ancient characters, right? That are just used for lore. I've also liked the Dondarrions. That's probably just, you know, biased because of Beric Dondarrion. Night Song has been our capital in our old CK2 Game of Thrones series. If you want to go check that out, a shameless plug there. And the name is cool, Night Song. Like, come on, Singing Towers. Interesting. Other than that, where is it? I think. Man, there's just so many. The Grief, Storm's End. Storm's End is pretty cool. Nevermore. I think it was like the Bronze Gate. Yeah, Bronze Gate has been something I've just been drawn to as a minor. Just a minor holding that I kind of liked. Probably just because of the name. Nothing else to it. The Reach. I'm gonna be honest, I kind of liked the High Towers are probably my favorite house, because even though I don't like them obviously in the time of House of the Dragon and the Dance of Dragons, the Rowans have been interesting that I kind of been drawn to, as well as the Caswells. So Golden Grove has been a favorite. Snag of Rowan, as well as the Ring. House Roxton. I don't know, to be honest, I don't know where the Ring stands in here. I know where it is in the CK2 version, but that has a lot less counties. Wonder, is it Redfront, North March, Ocean Road, Golden Grove, Rose Road, Mander Fields, Stonebridge, which is House Caswell. We got the Stonebridge. Golden Fields. Heartland Heights. That's a cool name. Good Gate. You know what? Let's see if we can find it. House Roxton. They also have their own Valyrian Steel sword. Baron Roxton. Old Hills. Okay. So they're down here now. Before they were up there. Lord of the... And they were the Ring. I don't even know if that's House Roxton. Let's see here. Was that just a Easter egg from them? Yeah, from the Ring. The Ring. Yeah, obviously. All right. Now it's just me not even reading it properly. But they do also have a Valyrian Steel sword. Well, they should. Orphan Maker. I don't know who's wielding it at the time, but they should have one. And then you got the red wines here with the arbor. The Reach is obviously the most fertile place in Westeros, so it's probably a pretty decent place to live, actually. If you had to live anywhere, Reach is probably going to be the best place to live. Riverlands is also pretty decent, but that's just where a lot of the battles and everything go. The Vale, I kind of like the geography of the Vale and what's been described as well. It's a lot more mountainous, so probably a little bit colder. Stormland's also decent, especially if you lived around here, I'd say. But everything we've heard about Tarth has been obviously sounds beautiful. Tarth has been my second favorite, I think, place in Westeros behind Harrenhal. And I just like Harrenhal because I like it being the center here. I like the Isle of Faces. It just kind of makes really cool sense to have a good castle here. And obviously Harrenhal is just way too big to be, you know, useful and also cursed right now, but you could get rid of the curse and, you know, reduce the castle size. I think it'd be pretty good. You don't need it to be the size it is now, but I think if you just still made it like the biggest castle in Westeros, but because you could still make this like an economical standpoint, because if you want to, you could have the rivers here that you could sail up the Blackwater. I believe so long as you avoid the Isle of Faces. And then you got all the roads leading down here, and then you got this the Trident. So it's a pretty good place, I'd say. We have here's the Great Fork, which is what our first Game of Thrones series for CK3 was when we were House High Lord. If anyone's watched that series, let me know. If anyone's watched any of the other Game of Thrones series or any other series I've done, let me know, because I'm just curious. I'm not saying you have to go watch them and everything. I'm just curious. But yeah, Great Fork, High Lord, and then Dorne. I've said it before, House Dane, and then probably also the area where the Danes rule. So this area is probably going to be my go-to place. Although I will say maybe the Iron Woods area is decent. There's House Manwoody. Swill. Where is the Stoneway? I could have sworn the Stoneway was House Will. Where's Ironwoods, which ironically I've called Ironwoods because of how it's spelt. It is actually Ironwoods. That's how you're supposed to say it, but whether or not you want to, go ahead. Captain Simon. Oh wow, they've just fallen on hard times, huh? Probably because like of everything here, because the Ironwoods are supposed to be like old kings of Dorne before the Martells and Nymeria took over. Well, they were supposed to be kind of basically the major power in Dorne until Martells allied with Nymeria and took over. Line of Yorick, yeah. Line of Yorick. Yep, it's just because of not the faulty, but the bugs from trying to just continue on from the last save. God's Grace. Pretty interesting, I shouldn't say interesting, pretty cool name for it being like where the river runs through here. The Green Blood. So that's probably a major oasis, besides, you know, like say Sunspear. Brimstone. Don't want to live anywhere where it's called Brimstone. Ain't gonna lie. Torrentine, that's it. Especially because I like Torrentine's supposed to have like a waterfall that just goes from here, and that's where this whole river leads to. Images we've seen of it does make it look pretty beautiful. So, but yeah, and like I said, I don't really know much about Essos. I've never particularly cared. Nysar I always had a soft spot because that was my second favorite place in the CK2 version to just kind of create and make my own if I was doing an Essos, you know, a little playthrough. But other than that, don't really know much about Essos, and we don't even have like the full scope of it in here. But yeah, so I've asked a lot of questions in this episode. If you guys want to answer any of them, go right ahead. If not, that's fine. But I hope you guys enjoyed this chill episode. I will try to get everything all settled for next time. I do apologize that I didn't know, because like I said, it was last week. I couldn't get it to work because mods weren't updated and everything, but now it's updated. Now we got this issue, but I'll get on that when I can. And yeah, hope you guys semi enjoyed this little ramble. Leave a like if you like, leave a dislike if you dislike, but tell me why, and I shall see you all later.